Welcome to episode 6 of the Darling and Darling podcast. I'm Simi and with me is Tim, and today we're going to talk about the morning routine. So, Tim, how did you get into it?
That was a few years ago. Maybe some of you have listened to our podcast about journaling. For me, that was about the same time when I started reading about and watching videos about self-development and self-help. And then I started journaling. And a few months later, I used to hear more and more about morning routine and getting up earlier than you would need to devote some time to yourself. And then I decided, I want to start that. I want to try it out. And I read a book about that, the 5 a.m. Club. Feel free to check that out. And no, don't be afraid. It doesn't have to be 5 a.m. We will get more into that. However, I read that book, the 5 a.m. Club. And for me, 5 a.m. actually worked well in the beginning. And I still really like 5 a.m. to get up. So that's how I got into it. And at the end of 2020 was the first time where I really started that and where I said, okay, I will get up and the first hour or so of my day I will devote to my personal growth, to my development. And I tried out different routines, for example, journaling in the morning, also making little exercise sessions at home in the morning, or reading something, for example. That's what I tried out. And for me that worked really well. I really enjoyed doing that. And of course I had some breaks in between where I stopped for a few weeks, sometimes a few months. But right now I'm back into it and it really helps me to do that. So Simi, you are also recently trying that out. How does it work for you?
So for me it's not 5 a.m. It's significantly later in the day when I get up, and then I just normally start my routine. And right now I'm trying out like a guided routine where somebody is guiding me through it with the audio tracks, which is really nice. So I get into the habit of doing it, and sometimes I also just do it on my own, like little bits, like, I don't know, running around a bit or reading something, and that's how I do it.
Yes, we don't want to give you like the basic information about it, because we think that there are people out there who can explain it better than we do. So for example, if you're new to that topic, you might want to, additionally to this podcast episode, you might want to, for example, look for the 5 a.m. Club or for the Miracle Morning. Just research that, the Miracle Morning from Hal Elrod, and you will find a bunch of resources and information. And we will complement that with our personal experience, with some general advice for you. And one thing that we want to start with is the time that you need to get up or that you want to get up to do that. And we've already mentioned we have different times, Simi and I, when we do that. And my personal experience is it doesn't really matter when you do it. And the only important thing is that it's before your usual routine starts. For example, when you have to go to work, do your morning routine before you have to leave for work. Or maybe you want to, for example, with these audio tracks, you can also do it when you're in the car driving to work. But it should be like before you have the first interaction with your colleagues, before you get the first tasks on your desk from your boss, for example. Do that when it's still calm, when you're fresh, I would say, and like when the turmoil of the day hasn't hit you yet. And the next thing is, what do you do then in this time frame? Simi, would you say what is important to take care about when you decide what to do in the morning?
I think first up you have to think about what is important for you, like in which areas you want to do your self development, and then you can think about how you can achieve that. For example, if you want to do more exercise or incorporate that into your life more, then you can do that in the beginning of your day, that you do exercise. Or if you, I don't know, if you want to read more in your life and in your day, then you can take time out to do so. And I think it's really important to figure out what is important for you and where you want to improve yourself. And these are the parts I would recommend you put into your morning routine.
Yes, you can also, for example, when you work on a project, like when you want to write a book or you want to write music, when you want to do something creative, maybe you want to start your own business, then you can also use this time to work on that, to get some ideas down and just work on that project. And you can also use that hour there, so it doesn't have to be these, I would say, stereotypical self-development rituals. You can also just take a current project that is important to you and work on that. What I would like to add about the time you do it, what feels really good for me is doing it so early, because then I know everyone else is still asleep. And so I think that's, for the most part, it's just a mindset thing, that I know I'm working on myself when everyone is still asleep, which just feels really good to me. And the other thing is, no one can bother me. Like sometimes, I'm sure you know that, especially when you live with your family, for example, then I'm sure you know that you get up and sometimes your family members are also still up, your significant other or your parents when you still live with them. And then something is up, or maybe they have a discussion there, maybe they want something from you, and then it's just really difficult to focus on something else. So that's a big benefit of doing it quite early before the other people get up, but it's not a must-have. You can also do it later and then take that time. It just might be a bit more difficult to get the distractions out of the way. So Simi, you wanted to also recommend to start small. What do you mean with that?
What I mean with that is, like, if you read the books we earlier recommended, or we talked about, like in the 5 a.m. club and also in the Miracle Morning, there is a time frame in it. Like, they're talking about an hour or something, and you don't have to start with an hour. Like, I started with 4 minutes where I did a morning routine. So start really small. And if you want to, I don't know, write a novel in that time frame, then start small. Start with a sentence or something. Or if you want to read something, then read a page. If you want to journal a couple of lines down. So just start small. Don't expect from yourself that when you start doing it, the first time has to be, first off, perfect, and secondly, a whole hour or 1.5 or 2 hours, or I don't know how long you think you want to do that. So build up to that.
What I really like about this advice is that when you want to start that, you don't even have to get up earlier than you would usually need to. Because I know that many people think, when they hear about morning routine, they think like, oh, I'm not a morning person, for example, or I already have to get up so early, I don't want to make it even earlier. And I can completely understand that. I thought so too in the beginning. And so if you want to try that out, but you don't want to get up earlier, then just don't get up earlier. Just get up and then do something for a few minutes, like make a small exercise sessions, make some push-ups, for example, or make a small meditation, write a few sentences in your journal, all of that doesn't take much time. Maybe you can take the time by hitting the snooze button one time less and getting a few minutes to devote that to yourself. Or you might also just be a bit faster with your breakfast to get something done before that. And then you don't even have to change the time your alarm clock rings. But right after getting up, you can just take a few minutes, do something, and you can look how it feels. My personal experience, especially with that being a morning person, is I think there is no one who is not a morning person at all. I think about, for example, when you were a child and you went into holidays, for example, or when it was your birthday or something like that. I think no one then hit the snooze button 20 times and thought, no, I don't want to get up at all. This is all so bad. I just want to stay in bed. I think there were days when you were really excited to finally get up and you were really looking forward to that. And even though that may sound like a fairy tale to you, but I believe that you can create that feeling in your everyday life. You can create that feeling that you get up in the morning and you are excited to get up and you are excited to start that day. And you don't have that daunting feeling of your work needs to be done and you have to get up to be somewhere, to be at meetings, to have appointments, but that you wake up with that feeling, I can get up now and I can work on myself, I can do something that I enjoy, I can have fun, and then you will automatically become a morning person. For me, sometimes, even when I have had a night with little sleep, we will talk about the topic sleep in a moment too, but sometimes I just can't manage to go to bed early enough and then I end up with just a few hours of sleep. And then sometimes I nonetheless get up early just because I really want to do that. And then I wake up in the morning and I think, I could keep on sleeping. But then I realize, no, I want to write about something in my journal, for example. Or I have a really good book lying around right now and I want to keep reading in that. So I just get up and do that because I'm so much looking forward to that is just way more attractive than staying in bed when I wake up in the morning. Have you experienced anything like that, Simi?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I think the feeling of a child going into holiday or doing something really exciting is really capturing the feeling when you get up early and you're like, oh, now I'm really looking forward to do my things. And I think it's also really nice because it is a really cool way to appreciate yourself and to do something for yourself. So it's like in the morning you have time with yourself, about yourself, and you can be creative and you can create something and purposefully start the day. I think that's really nice. And I also had it a couple of times that I was like, oh, I really, really want to continue with a book or with something else I was doing. So I got up and I was like, oh yes, now we do that. And that was really nice. And it's a really nice feeling to be like, oh yeah, I can do something for myself now. And I can decide what I want to do first in the morning and not the day and the schedule demands what I do. I think it's a really nice feeling of freedom you have there.
Yes, I really like that with the freedom there. That's just how I experience it. I think that summarized it really well. That I just have that feeling of freedom when I get up because there is nothing around me. I don't get any notifications on my phone because no one writes me that early. And there's no one around who wants anything from me. There's just 1 or 2 hours of time and I can just do what feels right and what I enjoy doing and what I feel like I benefit the most from. I also think that what you do in the morning sets a tone for the rest of your day. Like when you get up and, as you mentioned, Simi, and your schedule demands something from you and you don't want to be there, I think that casts a shadow over the whole day. But when you get up and the first thing in the morning is something you really enjoy, I think that joy just carries on into the day. And it's quite hard in my experience to destroy that joy over the course of the day again. How do you think about that?
Yeah, I think I can completely back this up. Yeah. And we also wanted to talk about sleep. I think, or we both think, sleep is really important. And it's good. Sleep is a really a good necessity we have. And so if you didn't get enough sleep, or if you just have to get up really early or something, and you really want to do your morning routine, but you figure out in the process of like waking up and getting up, you realize, oh wait, today I'm really, really tired. You can also skip your morning routine. Like, it's important that you stay committed to it, but it's more important to listen to your body. And if your body is telling you that you need sleep, then sleep. I also, for some time, did it, like, I also tried to get up at 5 a.m. Let's not kid ourselves here. And I got up at 5. I was awake for an hour or 1.5, and then I laid back down in bed again and slept 2 or 3 more hours because I really, really needed it. But I wanted that time frame in the morning. Like, I wanted to at least try it out, what it does for me. And afterward, I went into bed again. But so oftentimes it was just, okay, I need that sleep, so I sleep. And then I got up at like 8 or 9, and then I did my morning routine. It's just, don't go over your needs for your body, I would say.
Yes, and I would also say, when you plan on starting a morning routine, then don't expect too much from yourself. Like when you have a routine that you're at work until, I don't know, 9 or 10 p.m. and afterwards you still have to eat dinner, then don't commit to getting up at 5 a.m. because that just won't work. Find a time for you that works, and yes, commit to that, to going to bed earlier than usual. Try that out. But don't take a time where you know that you won't manage to do that. For me, for example, it's also often a struggle to be in bed on time, because maybe I have appointments in the evening, or I have meetings. Sometimes I'm just, for example, watching something with Simi and we're really enjoying ourselves. Then it's also really difficult to make that decision to say, okay, we will make a cut, we will go to bed. That's sometimes really difficult. But I have a time where it works most of the days, and I can handle it to have 1 or maybe 2 nights in a row too little sleep, but then I have to compensate for that. And then I try to compensate in the evening, so I try to go to bed even earlier, so I can keep going with getting up early. But when I realize it doesn't work anymore, sometimes I try to have my morning routine, and for example, I take out my journal and I realize I can't put a sentence together that makes sense. And then I say to myself, okay, that won't work, and I will benefit more from sleeping a few more hours than from journaling or reading or doing whatever. So I just go back to bed, and then I don't feel bad, or I don't beat myself up for it, but I just do what my body needs in that moment. So we will wrap this episode up. A quick look over our key takeaways, and take a time that works for you. start small, and don't use the excuse of being a morning person. Just try it out, and maybe you will figure out that you can become a morning person by starting something early that you enjoy, and take care of your sleep. That is really important.
And lastly, we also have a writing prompt for you again. So, yeah, the last couple of the episodes we started doing that. Last week was in a creative way. This week it's for journaling again. So our question this week is, how would your ideal morning look like? What would you be excited about to get up and do?
Yes, we hope this episode has been really valuable for you. I hope you can get even more value from yourself when you journal about our prompt. And we are looking forward to see you on our website, see you in our next episodes. And we're looking forward to staying in contact with you.
Until then, bye bye.
Bye bye.